holiest shrine in the world. It was called Kaaba, which means cube. It has been rebuilt about 10 times. They believe the first Kaaba was erected by angels from heaven, the second by Adam, the third by his son Seth, the fourth by Abraham, and his son Ishmael by Hagar. The eighth was built in Muhammad's lifetime in 605 AD. The 10th is the square structure now visible today in Mecca. Skipping over to page 92. It must be pointed out that in this era, the Kaaba contained several statues representing gods. That's G-O-D-S. One of the gods was called Allah, the Up One, a tribal god. Along with Allah were 3 other gods called Allah's daughters. The Quraysh tribe, now we know Muhammad was from the Quraysh tribe, began worshiping Allah as the chief god. So he wasn't just worshiping one god before there was a such thing as called Islam. The Kaaba stone was there before there was any such thing as Islam. And it was one of the many gods in that area. But Allah was the chief god they were calling on. It says he was presented to the Meccans as the Lord of their soil. Now listen to this clearly now. As Muhammad approached 40. Now listen to this clearly. I want you all to hear this out there, brothers and sisters. As Muhammad approached 40, he became more absorbed in religion. He was dismayed at the many gods of the Arabs. Why? Because before Muhammad was born, they was worshiping what we would call Persian mythology. It says, their constant tribal warfare, their loose morality, and their political disunity. Listen, these factors influenced him in starting a new religion that had only one God. I'm going to get right to it. One night in the year 610 AD, tradition claims that the angel Gabriel appeared to him and commanded him to read. Now we know that Muhammad was an illiterate camel driver. He could not read or write. It says, when he awoke, he heard a voice saying, O Muhammad, thou art the messenger of Allah, and I am Gabriel. Therefore, he had many such visions. Those near him at the time said they neither saw nor heard any angel. In the next 4 years, Muhammad openly announced himself as the prophet of Allah. His first covenant was his aging wife. His first convert, was his aging wife, who was 15 years his senior. His second, his cousin. His third, his servant. His fourth, his kinsman Abu Bakr. Abu Bakr was a man of respected standing among his tribe, the Quraysh. He converted 5 other Meccan leaders. These became the prophet's 6 companions. Much friction developed among the tribesmen when Muhammad claimed to be a messenger from God. After bitter wars, Muhammad conquered Mecca in 630 AD. He cleared away all the idols except the black stone in the Kaaba. So that shows you that the Kaaba was one of many idols in that area before they started worshiping in Mecca. He cleared them all out and he left the black stone, right, which is, listen, I'm almost finished. All right. Which is considered holy to this day by Muslims. But we know according to the Hebrew and according to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, we're not to reverence any stone in this earth. It's against the Hebrew gods to acknowledge, to walk around, to pray around, or to even think about bowing to a rock. It's against the Hebrews' law. Now, there's more. From then on to this day, pilgrims must walk around the Kaaba 7 times and kiss or salute the black stone. The black stone, apparently a meteorite, was considered sacred and was built into the wall of the Kaaba. In the first days, the Muslims adopted several of the Jewish rites. They prayed facing Jerusalem. The Jews' fast days were observed. Now, the Muslims that was converting first was following our teachings. They were following the Jews' teachings. We wasn't following them. It says here, but when relations with the Jews became tense, to show you through reference that in two separate books, it tell you the same history, that they end up getting upset with the Jews for not acknowledging Islam as a religion. But when relations with the Jews became tense, Muslims were told to face Mecca when they prayed. So before they was facing Mecca, they were facing Jerusalem, where we face now when we pray. It says here.
Barakah, hold on. All right, listen. I want Omar to come in now, yeah? If you can just hold that point right there. All right?
Absolutely.
And I want Omar to come in. Omar, I'm going to give you the time for speak.
I pull out the history. That's good.
Right. I'm going to give you the time to speak and address anything that you hear there, if you're making your notes or whatever. All right? Omar, you with me? Yeah? So I want you to come in now, Omar, and just say what you need to say. Brother Rakar, I want you to listen to what Omar have to say now, all right?
I'll listen.
All right, then, cool.
No, first of all, the book that you're reading, there's many things in it. All the things that are in it is absolutely wrong.
And you're saying that based on history that you know that everything is wrong?
Everything that is said from that book, which is written by someone. Maybe someone is anti-Muslim, maybe someone is a atheist or whatever wrote that book. So for me, that book is no more than the BBC or the ITV who have something to say every day about Muslims. Now, first of all, Hebrew, the word Hebrew comes from Herb, which was one of Abraham's forefather, which it doesn't mean a religion. It means the language that they speak. So Abraham spoke Hebrew, and when Abraham went across to Babylon, where the language that they were speaking was Aramaic. Now, the Aramaic, the Hebrew, and the Arabic, you can find that these are sister languages, which are called the Semitic languages, which came from Shem. Now, I have quoted from your Hebrew Bible in the Hebrew language before, which you say, even you yourself, mention the word Muhammad, but you say I am him. Which I said to you, the word Muhammad is in the Bible, but it has been taken out according to corrupted King James and people that was greedy to gain power, to control the populace and to divert them from the worshipping of one God. Now, Muhammad, peace and blessing be upon him, he was an illiterate man. And you mentioned the word camel jockey, which is a form of disrespect, because I will never disrespect no prophets in the Bible. I will never call them names. Now, Muhammad could not read and write. And the Creator said in the Quran, we made you illiterate so that no one could say you have learned from any books. Now, Muhammad, as the Creator also said in the Quran to the people, وَمَا صَاحِبِكُمْ بِمَجْنُونَ, your companion is not a mad man. Your companion saw the angel Gabriel. And this is not vivid of the unseen. This is not the words of the devil. Now in the Quran there's many places all it talks about do not follow the footstep of the devil. So when you say that Muslim worship the devil, you're actually totally wrong. Because if Muslims are praying 5 times a day, worshiping God, doing the best they can to their ability, and even the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessing be upon him, he died as a poor man. He didn't control no riches, he didn't oppress no one. Now when the Jews fled from Jerusalem after the sack from the Romans, which Christianity was found, and there was murder in the Jews, they flee down to a place that was called Yathrib, which today we call it Medina. Now the word Yathrib means shame. Now when they flee down to that part of the land, what they was doing, as it says in the Bible, in the book of Deuteronomy, but Moses said, for I know that after my death you will utterly corrupt yourself and turn aside from the way which I have commanded you, and evil will befall you in the later days, which is in Deuteronomy 31:29, which addresses the Jew. Now what the Jews used to do, they used to oppress the people of Medina, the Arabs, because the Arabs was illiterate. The Jews was the people from the scribes and Pharisees who Jesus cursed and said, woe be unto you, scribes and Pharisees, which Jesus said you're condemned to hell. Now when they came down to Medina, they was oppressing the people, telling the people that a prophet was supposed to come in this land, and when the prophet come, we are going to follow the prophet and kill all of you like the nations of Sodom and Gomorrah and the people that God have destroyed from the flood of Noah. Now, when Prophet Muhammad went up into the mountains of Hira, where he saw the angel Gabriel, he was not asleep. He went away from the paganistic worship which the people started to follow. Now, the Arabs before that, as Allah said in the Quran, if you ask them who has created them, ask them who has feed them, they would say Allah, which means the God. Now, before the worshipping of idols, there was a man from amongst the Arabs, from amongst Quraysh, which was a tribe of Muhammad, peace and blessing be upon him. His name was Amr. He was one of the leaders. He went to India and he found the people of India worshipping idols. He went on business. He went and he found the people worshipping idols. They had an idol which they call Hubal. He asked the people, he said to them, why are you worshipping this thing? They said, we worship this so this thing can take our prayers to God. We worship it as an intermediary. So this man was a leader for the Qurayshi. He took it back to Mecca, and the people, what the people did, when they saw him started worshipping it, they copied him. Just like now in society, you've got like rich peoples, like you find like a lot of superstars, celebrities, when they start doing something, then the people follows. So the people following him and think it was good. But it mounted up to about 360 gods. Now when Muhammad came, he told the people, there is only one God, which is La ilaha illallah, which you didn't pronounce properly. So therefore you cannot read the Arabic, which you're actually playing with the words. Now he said to the people, La ilaha illallah, which means there's no God worthy of worship except the God. Now the people, they wanted to kill him. They stoned him, they beat him, they said, you're a madman. How can you make 360 gods into one? Now, the reason why the people started worshipping 360 gods, when Abraham, according to the, received a revelation from God, saying, take your son Ishmael, and take him down to the place of Mount Paran, which is with your wife Hagar, the Egyptian slave girl. Abraham took his son and his wife down to Mount Paran, which today they call it Mecca, and he left them there. Ishmael grew up with a tribe, came from Yemen, that was called Jirhum, and he grew up with them, and oftentimes his father Abraham visited him. So what they did, they was practicing the way of life, which means to worship one God, submit, and worship none but him. Now that trait was there. When Ishmael died, the people used to follow the same trait until the leaders from amongst them went to India and where they found the idol, and then the people started worshipping the idol.